So this is a really good chapter. This is like one of the best battle manga chapters I've read this year. I don't know if it's like a 10 out of 10, but it's definitely like a strong 9 for sure. But it opens up with us seeing Naoya's domain expansion, which is Time Cell Moon Palace. This is like the projection sorcery domain expansion. And I guess it works the way that we initially thought that it would. I mean, we had some grand expectations for it, of course, but it's pretty much just projection sorcery with guaranteed hits, because we see like these film reels come out of nowhere and like hit Daido and Mio in the neck. And as Naoya puts it here very cleanly, anyone I touch has to move like me or they will freeze up for 1 second. In this domain, it seems the technique's target is even more precise. It can even target individual cells. If you try to move, they might get out of whack. And when they do, like, they just get hit in like their cells apparently, and they just start bleeding from like their pores or whatever. But yeah, instantly, just like that, Mio and Daido are severely wounded by just immediately entering this domain, which is expected, of course. And this seems so much like a Final Fantasy boss battle, because Naoya is kind of just floating there. He even looks like a Final Fantasy boss at this point, and the domain just kind of goes on autopilot and just messes you up as long as you're just in there. Like, he doesn't really even have to do anything. But as we're going to find out, that's going to be his ultimate downfall. But then he starts asking like, where's Maki, and like assuming that she died because like he can't fully sense her. I mean, it was always difficult to sense her because she had no cursed energy, but as he says, he still should be able to locate her. But that's not the case, because as we're going to find out, she's not even in the domain right now. But Daido goes to swing at Naoya and he just instantly takes his arm off with holding the sword. But as soon as he loses it, that's when we see Maki come into the domain, grab the sword and stab Naoya right through the back. And then we find out what's exactly going on with Maki in relation to the domain, because it says, like Toji, Maki doesn't have any cursed energy, so barrier techniques treat her as a building. That's like a strange way of putting it, but it just means that it's not going to include her, essentially. Then going further, it says Naoya must use an actual structure as the barrier's exterior, like Fushiguro did in Tokyo Colony No. 1. But unless she consents, he can't trap her inside the domain. So this means that Maki, with her heavenly restriction, cannot be contained in a traditional domain, like a complete domain, the way that we normally see it construct itself in a sphere. The only way for her to be included in a domain, unless she straight up consents to be a part of it, is for you to like manually construct it in a set structure. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, and that's Manga Mart. Guys, I know a lot of you are looking to purchase manga or just straight up start your collections, and sometimes you ask me, where can you get it? Well, this is it. Manga Mart is where you should be buying your manga. Manga Mart is a small family-owned and operated business. So by purchasing through them, not only are you supporting a small business, but you're also supporting the author and the artist that creates the manga as well. They ship to anywhere in the United States, and their packaging is recyclable and biodegradable, as they are committed to being the most environment-friendly retailer in the world. You can even buy titles that are sold out or back-ordered everywhere and not have to worry about missing the reprint date since you've already placed an order with them. Also, custom orders can be placed for titles that you don't see on the store website. Just message them on social media. They add new titles daily. So guys, like I said, if you're looking to buy some manga, check out Manga Mart. The link is in the description, and make sure you use code Zhoniin at checkout and you'll get free shipping. Yep, that's right, free shipping. Thanks, guys. And the example that we get here is when Megumi was going against Reggie, because we saw that he constructed Chimera Shadow Garden using the gymnasium that they were in. So when that happens, since it's incomplete, you don't get the guaranteed hit like what we see with Naoya using earlier on, but you do essentially get like a buffed up use of your curse technique and a more variable and extended way to use it. As we saw what Megumi did against Reggie, like Reggie activated Hollow Wicker Basket, which protects you against guaranteed hits, but since the domain was incomplete, Megumi was just manually using his curse technique. Therefore, the Wicker Basket / simple domain doesn't really matter because it doesn't stop curse techniques. But then we get like this inner sequence with Maki shaking hands with Mai, and she says, "You understand me now, right? I even let a sweaty middle-aged guy squeeze me to show you an example. So you were able to break it, huh?" So this is interesting. I guess this confirms that the sword itself is kind of sentient, and it has like a part of Mai's soul or consciousness in it or whatever, because Mai constructed the sword using her curse technique at the cost of her life. And we saw that when Daido showed up, the sword like annually left Maki and went to Daido. So I guess this is confirming that like, yeah, it's because it's somewhat alive. But now we're getting the full explanation on what this sword is, something that we didn't get for a while. And it says the blade that Mai left was a replica of the cursed tool Split Soul Katana. So yeah, like when we first saw this, we drew comparisons to the sword that we saw Toji use when he initially was fighting against Gojo and Gedo. And yeah, it turns out that it's just a replica of that, but for good reason, because this thing can bypass the toughness of any substances to cut the soul, like the same soul that Mahito was manipulating with his technique. However, exerting that power fully requires eyes that can observe even the souls of inorganic matter. So yeah, there was a stipulation of fully using this. You can't just pick it up and then start cutting souls with it. You need to be able to observe the souls first, and obviously Maki couldn't do that at first, but as we talked about, Daido and Mio showed up conveniently at the right time to give her the necessary nuanced training that she needed to fully utilize cursed tool that she has here. Because as we saw in the previous chapter, once she finished the training, she now had a greater sense and perception of things, to where like she could see the atmosphere and spot the differences in temperature and air density. But not only that, she can friggin' observe your soul now. And with that, she's like pretty much cutting Naoya's soul here, which is like, you know, getting down to like jujitsu string theory stuff. But Naoya's like, stupid trash, you couldn't even finish me in one blow, so you lose because you can no longer move in this domain. No matter how much time passes, you're still. And as he's turning around, she's just like, nah, that doesn't work on me. And she like cuts his head in half. And then the narrator says the domain's guaranteed hit couldn't recognize Maki because she has no cursed energy. So yeah, this goes back to what we were talking about. The only way for a domain to affect somebody with heavenly restriction is for you to, first of all, construct it in a structure, but also you have to manually use curse techniques against them. Because if you just let it go on autopilot and just expect the guaranteed hits to work, it's not, because the AI of it can't recognize Maki because she has no cursed energy. But I guess Naoya's dead here because the domain explodes and then out of it comes Mio and Daido, which is awesome because I wanted them both to live, and it seems like they are here. I mean, Daido lost his arm, but I don't know, he could still at least use the sword with his right hand. I mean, maybe he won't be as efficient as he was, and I guess it's understandable. This is kind of nerfing him a little bit because maybe he was a little too strong. And then we come to the final panel where it says a demonic fighter equal to Toji Zenin was fully realized. So yeah, that's it. This is like the final confirmation that we're getting that she is now equal to Toji, something we've been speculating about for weeks now, but this is like the confirmation, meaning that like the Toji that we saw fight against Gojo, she's on that level right now. And this means that she's easily like one of the strongest main characters right now. Like, I don't know if she's necessarily stronger than a Kotsu, like that would be a really good fight right now, but I think that she's probably stronger than Hikari and definitely stronger than Megumi and Yuji at this point. Like, she's probably in the same tier as a Kotsu possibly. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the chapter, and I'm assuming that Naoya's dead here because she friggin' cut his soul and she like split his head, and unless he's gonna stick around a little bit so that Noritoshi can get his hits in or whatever, because he still needs to do something, I guess, right? But I don't know, I just assume that this is the end. But let me know what you think in the comments, guys, and if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.